our next speaker, Kate, is giving the final speech in level 2 of her effective coaching track. In this introduction to mentoring project, you'll be introduced to her unique take on being a mentee. Please welcome Kate for her speech, Maybe Not All TV Rots Your Brain.
When? 1987. Where? A living room in Northeast Ohio. What? Two busy parents and their young daughter sit down for dinner and hear for the first time, space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. And thus began a journey that would last through 7 seasons and 4 movies, resulting in a worldview that would be changed forever. Fast forward to 2009, when Amazon Prime Video finally makes it to a living room in Connecticut, and a young couple starts their own journey through space. And finally, to a mother and her 2 young daughters, just as a global pandemic is beginning, where they too can fly among the stars to save the galaxy from war and destruction. As you can see, Star Trek: The Next Generation has been a pretty influential part of my life. So I'm going to spend the next 5-ish minutes nerding out on one of its most poignant episodes, Darmok. In case you're not as familiar with Star Trek: The Next Generation as I am, there are 2 characters that you need to know before we begin. The first is the measured and brooding Captain Jean-Luc Picard, who is known for his proficiency in the Klingon language because he knows how important it is to speak in the person's language that you're trying to deal with in order to aid in collaboration. Second is his roguish first officer, Commander William T. Riker, who will do anything for his captain and his ship, and is not afraid to voice his own opinion, even if it is different from the captain's. In the episode, Darmok, the Enterprise's new mission is to figure out a way to communicate with a reportedly incomprehensible race, the Tamarians. When Captain Picard hears this description of the Tamarians, his first reaction is, Picard, I often find that communication is a matter of patience, imagination. After a well-attempted but admittedly failed first contact, the Tamarian captain decides enough is enough and transports himself and Captain Picard down to a nearby planet's surface. I'm sure that we have all cried uncle at meetings when 2 people are just talking past each other and not taking the time to understand. Sometimes it effectively takes transporting those key people into another room so that they can generate a solid solution. The Tamarian culture is built around stories, one of which is Darmok and Jalad, 2 heroes who arrive separately on an island only to find that they have to work together in order to defeat a beast. This bonds them for the rest of their lives. This captain knew that if he and Picard had only each other to rely on, they would figure out a way to communicate and survive the trials that this planet had in store. Oftentimes, when you're able to get away from prying eyes, it's easier to let your ego go, lowering your shields, and connect with the people on the same level. I've talked about the benefits of going on business trips to meet with people face-to-face before, but personally, I'd prefer to avoid a trip to a planet with an invisible electric beast. Back on the Enterprise, Riker has no way to understand the Tamarian captain's good intentions, and he directs the crew to make all efforts to rescue Picard. Each time the crew makes any progress on this rescue attempt, the situation is worsened, either through heightened tensions with the Tamarian ship or through interfering in the captain's attempts to fend off that invisible electric beast. After 2 days and 2 nights stumbling through shared allegories, Captain Picard returns to the Enterprise only to find the 2 ships on the brink of war. Picard has a challenging task to defuse the situation and inform the Tamarian ship that their captain has died at the hands of the beast. Using his new understanding of the Tamarians' culture, Picard compassionately shares the news of that their captain died well, fighting for a cause that he believed in, communication. This episode reminds me that if you don't take the time to build understanding and instead act rashly, you can easily create a conflict that will be hard to come back from. Starting a new relationship can be like facing an unknown beast on your own with no weapons and no plan, leaving you defenseless when the beast attacks. Instead, taking the time to work together and build a strategy, learning how to communicate will lead to a stronger and more rewarding relationship in the long term. Riker, new friends, Captain? Picard, can't say number one, but at least they're not new enemies. Gene Roddenberry's vision of the future in Star Trek The Next Generation taught people who were willing to watch and listen that they too can create understanding and develop connections with those that are different from us, building a better society for all. Not all TV will rot your brain. It can teach you to boldly be a person that never was before. Engage.
That was awesome. I am definitely a Star Trek nerd myself, so that was spectacular. And don't tell Shatner, but Picard is my favorite. So
absolutely.